Okay guys, today we are going to cover conversions. So we're going to be converting some metric units and customary units from one unit to another. So first of all, we need to look at our mathematics chart. This is going to be your number one tool that you will be using when you are doing conversions. You will be given this for every test, every assignment. You'll be given this on the star. You'll always have this mathematics chart to refer to. It is important to memorize these too because you will be using these conversions for the rest of your life. But you notice that on this side we have customary units, and on the right side we have metric units. So let's say that the problem talks about us having our problem says we have 14 yards of fabric. And it wants to know how many feet do we have of that fabric. So obviously we're going to have to be converting from yards to feet. So I'm going to go to my mathematics chart and I'm going to find on my mathematics chart where it converts from yards to feet. And if I look right here on my chart, I see that 1 yard equals 3 feet. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say 1 yard equals 3 feet, because that's what I know from my mathematics chart. So now let's write down what we know. Right now we know I have 14 yards, so I'm going to put that on the yards side. And right now I don't know how many feet I have. I have to figure that out. So now I can use my mathematics chart to help me solve this. So I know that I'm going to be converting from yards to feet, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. So let's look at what they did at the top when they converted from yards to feet. How did they get from 1 to 3? Now remember, when we convert things, we have to multiply or divide. We don't ever add or subtract. So what did I have to do to the 1 to make it into a 3? Well, I had to multiply it by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. Whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. So if I did the times 3 to the top, I gotta do times 3 to the bottom. So how am I going to figure out how many feet are in 14 yards? I'm going to take 14 yards, multiply it by 3, and I'll have my feet. Remember, by now we should be doing a lot of this math in our heads, and you should know that 14 times 3 is what? 42. But if you didn't know that, you can go off to the side and multiply, and we know that 4 times 3 is 12, carry your 1, 3 and the carried 1 is 4. So I know that how many feet are in 14 yards? There are 42 feet in 14 yards. Let's look at another conversion. Let's pick something from the chart. Let's do pints and cups. Let's say that I have 16 cups of water, and I want to know how many pints that is. Well, I have to go back and look at my mathematics chart. Let's see. Here is cups and pints. So now I have cups and pints. I know that 1 pint equals 2 cups. So I'm going to go and write that down. I know that 1 pint equals 2 cups. Now let's write down the information that we have. We have 16 cups, so I'm going to put that over here with the cups, because the cups got to stay with the cups. And I don't know how many pints I have. So I'm just going to put a little question mark and my pints. Now I have to figure out, what do I need to do to convert it? So I look at my top. Okay? Or first I look at my blank. I know I'm going from my cups to my pints. So I'm going from my right to my left. So at the top, I got to go from my right to my left. So you notice that we're going from a 2 down to a 1. Well, we can only use multiplication and division. Which operation will take things smaller? It won't be multiplying, it'll be dividing. So I know I have to divide this 2 by something to get 1. Well, how do we make a number equal 1? We divide it by itself. So 2 divided by 2 equals 1. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. So I have to divide by what down here? 2. So we know that 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I know that there are 8 pints in 16 cups. Let's do one more. Let's do gallons and quarts. Let's say I have 16 quarts, and I want to know how many gallons that is. So I have to use my mathematics chart to identify that. So let me go find my mathematics chart where it says gallons and quarts, and I see that right here it says that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. Now I have to plug in the information that I already have. I already have 16 quarts, so I put it on the same side because the same thing goes on the same side. And I need to know how many gallons, so that's what I don't know, so I put a question mark and the gallons. So now I'm working with this information, and if I look at this problem, I know I got to go from my quarts to my gallons. So up here I got to go from my quarts to my gallons. Well, how do I get from 4 down to 1? We know that's going down, so we know I got to divide. So I know that 4 divided by 4 equals 1 because a number divided by itself always equals 1. So if I do it to the top, I have to do it to the bottom. So I divide by 4 down here. So I got to do 16 divided by 4, which is 4 gallons. So using our mathematics chart and using our multiplication and division skills and lining our numbers up with the correct measurements, we can do this very easily.